So yeah, let's go into last thing, like where
Mhm,
you're headed, but also now that you have this system in place,
mhm,
started to recruit more or bring on other agents to help close these
mhm.
appointments to really, kind of fully systemize your business and potentially even like have some passive income out of it. Has it been easier to recruit because you have this system in place?
I mean, I'm how do you say yes? Just super duper emphatically.
Today, guys, we have Betsy Barr on the channel, and I'm going to be interviewing her, asking her some questions, just really having a conversation about her experience, kind of in the industry before coming and joining us, and it's getting
Mhm.
started in our flagship program, which is called Advertising Mastery, and then just her experience with that and how it's gone for her so far. So, thank you so much for coming on and being on the channel today, Betsy.
Well, thank you, Justin. It's definitely an honor to be asked, and I'm so thankful that you created this and to be a part of it, and just kind of what it's done for my business is phenomenal. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to go ahead and get started and jump right in. I'm sure everybody else is too.
Sure.
So, do you want to just start with like, I guess, kind of your background, what you were doing before getting into the insurance industry, and like how you got into the insurance industry?
Sure. I am, sometimes I'll talk with people and they're like, oh, I'm so green. I don't understand anything about insurance. And I was like, that was me 2 years ago, 100%. My background is as a math teacher. I was a math teacher for over a decade. And so I always tell people the only thing I'm ever used to selling is algebra to high schoolers who have, zero interest in that. And so, anyways, my family and I lived overseas and came back to the States. I taught over there in an international school and loved it. And we were very happy over there. We just got very sick. And so we couldn't keep living over there. Came back to the States and I got a job teaching math in an American high school and just kind of quickly realized maybe this wasn't the direction that I wanted to go for the rest of my life. So I mean, literally just started kind of putting resume out there. My husband was very supportive, and I just thought, let's just see what other things other than education and ministry are out there because that's the only other jobs I'd had. And so I came across Symmetry Financial Groups, who I'm with, and just it was a great fit in terms of culture and trying something new and really great training and all that stuff. And so I started 2 years ago in April 2019, and just did your mortgage protection, final expense, and was doing very well with that. I enjoyed it, had a lot of great support. There's leads, and so I was calling and driving to appointments and all that good stuff. And then that fall, they started offering a proprietary product, Debt Free Life, and so for me, that was when things really just were like, oh my word, this is what I love. It's kind of integrating like my love for numbers and math with educating people and really making a difference in their people's lives. And so that's when I was like, man, I am like 110% all there. And so it was actually during the pandemic when teachers, we couldn't work, and so I was at home. I'd been doing everything part-time, and just so many people were needing help and wanting to kind of financially secure their future with everything in the world going crazy. And so I was able to kind of move to doing that full time. And so I loved it, but it was, it's a grind, calling people, getting appointments set up. It's more of an advanced product. So there's a lot of explaining, just a lot of kind of effort being put into that. So that's kind of what I was doing, up until pretty much the end of last year. Like I said, I was doing very well. One of the top, at least top in my agency, and one of the, top in the company, and for Debt Free Life. And so I was loving it. And then I got COVID
Oh
in
no.
December, and I was like out for a whole month and then trying to come back. I just couldn't come back like my normal self. And, all the calling, all the prospecting, all of the, then sitting with people, you got to build that rapport so they trust you, explain the product, and then get into like, how to write it. So it was just so much. And I was like, I can't do this. Like I physically can't. And so it was very challenging and scary because I love doing this, but I was also like, I need I need another way if I'm going to be able to be successful and continue doing this. And so, anyways, one of my buddies, he's actually the one that found you, and he called me up and he was like, Betsy, said, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life. He said, but you got to do this. And so I remember looking it over and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been looking for, praying for. I know, like, this is the answer that I've been, that I've been seeing, it's what I've been looking for. And I remember, Justin, I looked at it and I was like going on your calendar and you didn't have a booking until like the next week. And I was like, no, I want to meet with you now.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's how I got started. And I knew as soon as I kind of watched that video, and I was like, yeah, no, this is what I'm going to do. So let's get started.
Awesome. That's so cool. Let me ask you this. So,
Yeah.
Well, first of all, for those that don't know, with the debt-free life, that's just correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the main part of that is kind of like using a whole life infinite banking concept type of policy.
Yeah. So, there's like 3 different parts to it, but there's that insurance component, then we do have some proprietary software that we use, and then there's lots of ongoing support. So it's definitely a more involved product than just, going in one sit, let's, get your mortgage covered, or one sit, let's get you final expense. So it's definitely it's more involved. It's more of a process. But that's part of why I enjoy it, I think, because it kind of brings in my education background, background as an educator, and kind of that relationship building part. So I really, really enjoyed that, but it's definitely a different beast than most products.
Definitely. And my background is, for the very limited time that I sold insurance, is with Northwestern Mutual, and they're a whole life company. They push cash value.
Okay.
That's like my background. So I understand that very, very well. Yeah. And even getting into infinite banking, there's so much that you can do with that. And it's really amazing stuff, but it's also like, a lot of times agents are afraid to learn it, I think, because there's a lot there. But on the other hand, it's because there's not a lot of leads available. Like, you can't just go out and find infinite banking concept leads. Like, that just doesn't really exist.
It doesn't.
Yeah. And so I remember back when I was at Northwestern Mutual, and some of like the struggles of people I still talk to is getting in front of people that you can actually, that are a good candidate for it. So before getting into my program, which obviously that does a really good job of helping you get in front of the right people, but
yes, very much.
Going from final expense to mortgage protection, like, what were you doing in the interim between joining my program and when you were doing final expense to like find people for this more advanced market type product?
Some of them just had been my like mortgage protection final expense clients, and so I would just call through those. We did have a lead program for debt-free life. Since then it's been honed a little bit better, because some of the people, they were like, oh yeah, I want to get out of debt, but it wasn't really a great fit for kind of what our ideal client is. And so, a lot of it, like I said, was just kind of calling through old clients, talking with people about it. When you ask people, hey, would you like to be out of debt in 9 years or less? Most people are like, yes, please, let's chat some more. It's a product that lends itself very, very easily to just kind of getting in front of people. And then I got a ton of referrals, just because once you help somebody get out of debt, then they're like, I'm going to share this exciting news with others. Just because, it's real, and they're actually seeing, their debt go away. And so that's kind of what I was doing, but it wasn't consistent, and was still a lot of, me putting in that upfront effort, which, obviously, the insurance industry, it's pretty big. So obviously people are willing to do that. And, I really believe in in my product and stuff, but I'm the kind of person, like, I love efficiency, and I love things that are going to be effective and work the best. And I homeschool my kids 2 days a week. My husband's a church planner, so I help him with that. So I've got a lot of things that I'm doing. And so I wanted this, like, my business, which really kind of helps propel our family and the church as well. Like, I needed it to be more efficient for me to be able to kind of maintain in the long term, and then hopefully, scale in the long term as well.
That's really cool. And I remember, like, when we first had our first phone call, you were already starting to do some of the stuff that we then teach in Advertising Mastery, and just kind of like put jet fuel on, because you were coming up with like content and things like that. So yeah, I think that you were a really good fit for us just because like you had that mentality of wanting to apply systems to your business, wanting to look at your
Yeah.
business as a real business and not a job. And you weren't afraid of like getting in front of the camera and talking and being
No.
yourself and putting yourself out there, which just really helps with these leads that we're creating because you know you're branding yourself. You
Mhm.
people know who you are before you even get on the phone. Yeah, I guess it's a good segue. Do you want to talk about kind of like your experience with the program and
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
So I mean, I'm kind of I kind of can have like a tunnel focus, so like when I started this, I told my husband, I was like, I'm gonna be really focused on this for a while. And he was like, you definitely have been focused on this. And I think your first week, you're kind of talking about, Justin, you talk about mindset and getting rest and creating a good schedule. I didn't really listen to that while I was getting everything set up. And so I was just like, I could see where this was going. And so I wanted to get it started right away. And so um, my kids, I remember we talked on a Tuesday, and my kids have like a ninja class that they go to on Tuesday. So I brought my computer there and I was listening to all those videos during their ninja classes. And man, I was ready to get started. And so yeah, but I mean, in terms of, stuff that I had already been doing, I'd already been trying to automate, and, I had already known like part of my struggle had been when I first meet with clients, I have to build that rapport, get them to trust me, and kind of share about the product. And all of that took so much time and effort. And I was like, there has to be a way to make this reproducible, to where I'm not expending all of my energy up front before we're getting into like what the client really needs. And so part of that was just coming from me, like from a physical standpoint, how can I, maintain this for the long term? But then also it's just, an efficiency thing. And so I've been doing webinars for the last year with one of the girls in my agency. And so we've been kind of, I look back to those first webinars and I kind of cringe, but then we got a groove and we were fine. And so yeah, so doing those, so I'm very comfortable, talking in front of people. I think also being a teacher makes you confident talking just in general. And so that was not something that I was concerned about. I'm used to creating content, doing writing, all those kind of things. So it was more for me, what this program did was it took all the information that was out there. And I was like, I know that there's a way to do all of this. It would just take me, I can't even imagine the amount of time that it would take me to figure all of it out. And it was just, okay, right here, follow these steps, do all these things. I mean, and it still took a lot of effort, a lot of troubleshooting, and like, okay, wait, this doesn't work, I got to fix this. But there was a plan to follow, a system, a process, and I can do that. And so that's why it was kind of such a good fit. Was, all right, hey, everything's already laid out, just go do it. I can
Right.
go do stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I think you were one of our fastest like clients ever to get through it and get ads live. Because most people take like 4 to 6 weeks to get through, get their funnel built, get their website all up,
Mhm.
get pixels installed, all that type of stuff. Then get to ads, come up with
Yeah.
their ad copy, come up with their audiences, all that stuff. Some people just like, I don't know whether they don't want to work or they just sometimes take a little bit too long to overanalyze things. But
Mhm.
had your niche down. You came up with some of the best ad copy I've ever seen, which I feel like I need to hire you as a copywriter. And then you got your video down. Yeah, I think you were up live within like 2 weeks, which is one of the fastest we've ever had. Which is really
Mhm. Yeah, I would have been faster, but then I had to rebrand. I was like, that set me back like 2 days. But it's been so helpful because I haven't had anything rejected on Facebook. And so, I mean, you were like, I mean, you can try it, or because we'd called it debt-free Knox, because I'm, debt-free life is the product, and then Knox is where I live. But then you were like, you're working all over the country, and that word debt, Facebook doesn't love. And so just by rebranding it the bar agency, I mean, man, that just made all the difference. So, it's worth it to put in the time and do it right the first time, because, it kind of all flows from there.
yeah,
So,
exactly. Like with our process, it's pretty it makes a lot of sense to work remote. Like it would be too inefficient to still do face to face. So it allows you to work it allows you to work from anywhere, but
Mhm.
also like work from home and work with people from anywhere. So
Yeah.
yeah, like you can open up, I don't know if you already have, but you can open up to the entire United States and just be.
Oh, yeah, I did that from the beginning. So, I
Mhm.
mean, I've had to grab a license like in Mississippi or Pennsylvania, but I mean, compared to the commission I get on that, it's like, it's nothing, you know? And, now it's like, the thing that kind of hit me the most was, well, you had mentioned this in the interview, like, you're probably going to need, you'll get so full with that one funnel that you might need some help with it. And I remember thinking, I don't know about that. Just well, you were right. And so there was one point I had to turn my funnel off because I was so full, and then we had a conference, and so it was like either let people book like 3 weeks in advance, which like I knew that was going to be a disaster if I let that happen, and so just being like, okay, I can't keep doing this on my own. Like it's overwhelming. I remember one morning waking up and like overnight, 9 people had booked. And it was almost like, oh, there's so many people on the calendar.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's a great thing, but it was just kind of so overwhelming. Oh, there was one time when I'd like shifted a time on my calendar so that I could do something with my kids that night. Like I usually have family time like 8 to 12 on that day, in the evening. So it shifted to where it was 7 to, but then I didn't realize that it ended at 11. Okay. Well, within like 5 minutes, I get a booking at 11 o'clock at night.
That's crazy.
So I called and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry that, there's a glitch, but I don't actually run appointments at 11. And then the guy was like, oh, good. I'm usually asleep then, but like, that's when your calendar was open. I just wanted to get with you. I was like, great. so we got rescheduled for like the next day, but it was like, those were moments when I just realized like, wow, like all the things that I really wanted out of this program, like they're really like, it's happening. It's real. Like, and I need help. And so, um,
I feel like that's a really good place to break into kind of
mhm.
the quality, or just like what are these appointments like when you're getting on Zoom or on the phone with these people?
I mean, oh my goodness, so I'd mentioned before, like when I was doing my appointments before, spending a lot of time building rapport, building trust, building credibility, getting to know people, um, and so my appointments could take, my first appointment could take an hour 15 minutes. These ones without fail, it's the exact same thing. Like first 3 to 5 minutes, we're connecting, I reach out to teachers because that's who, that's my background. And so, I mean, we just connect immediately because we're both teachers and we talk about education. We talk about our classes. Like, I mean, it's great. Then we segue immediately into, hey, what's your financial situation? And they've already given me all the information that I need. So I'm just verifying it. And then I go into, hey, this is what debt-free life is. This is what it might look like for you. Here's an example. Is this something you'd be interested in seeing for yourself? Oh, yes, definitely. We booked the follow-up. Okay, now we're done in like 35 to 45 minutes. I mean, so I mean, it's been phenomenal. Like people know exactly what I'm there for. They've got all their information to share. Like, because we need like, okay, what's the different debt balances? They give me generalities in the survey, and then all we're doing in the assessment, strategic assessment, there is just kind of getting those specifics. So, I mean, the whole appointment it's just a completely different feel. Like we both know why we're there. We're both excited to be there, and we're both excited to kind of see what happens after that. And so, anyway, so yeah, the quality of appointments is literally, it's like 9 day. I mean, there's really no comparing them, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely. I mean, that's really one of the reasons that I wanted to do this. In having that video, the VSL, which for people that
Oh,
it's for video sales letter, it's like a mini webinar. Like that makes all the difference because I don't know if you've worked these leads, but I know some people watching have worked like calendar leads where they'll take them through a Facebook form and then put a calendar on the back end. So you still get appointments, but the show up rate with those are usually pretty garbage. But there's just no there's no emotion, there's no knowing you, there's nothing like that.
Mhm.
So having this video, I'd seen it work amazingly with agents I'd worked with, agencies I was
Mhm.
working with outside of this industry. So I knew I needed to make it mainstream in the insurance industry. And it's
Oh, I mean, it's the difference maker. I mean, it's 100% the difference maker. And the first appointment that I had when we opened up the Zoom, the husband said, "Oh, look, it's her." Like that's what he said. "Oh, look, it's her." Like we knew each other, like it was pretty awesome, and so yeah, it just makes my job so much more enjoyable, and then now like my calendar's full, like every day on the hour or on the half hour, like I'm working. And so, it's been a complete game changer for my business.
Yeah, and I was gonna say you did something a little bit differently. I think because you had like the teaching, giving presentations
Mhm.
experience, you actually put your face in the video, which
Yeah.
I recommend to other people. Just a lot of agents aren't comfortable doing that up front. But
Yeah.
what that almost gives you is like a minor celebrity status, like somebody's seen you on an ad and they've seen you. And so like this rapport and trust is already built before they even start talking to you.
Oh, yeah. Well, and just the fact, like, you know, when you see someone's face, like, it just adds legitimacy, I think. I mean, I really did it because when I sent out my video to some of my teacher friends, they were all like, look, Betsy, you've been to all these professional developments. If people read to us, we check out. And so I don't want to be read to. And so it was very much a response of my niche where it was like, if you want our honest opinion, and honestly, I knew that too, but I was like, well, let's give it a try. But yeah, so now for me, I want to put my face on there. But I also like learned where to put the text so that it doesn't look, so that my eyes can hopefully stay in one place, because that's
Yeah,
the hard part.
mhm. That's awesome. Perfect. So I mean, like, I think you've been in for about 2 months in total. But yeah, if you just want to share like some of the numbers you've gotten, I know you shared some with me, but I honestly don't even know like what everything's looked like.
Yeah. So honestly, with DFL, for like my educator funnel, it got so overwhelming. I mainly did it for about 3 weeks, and then I was so full. I had to like regroup and be like, I've got to start recruiting. And I was doing so much follow up. So I like, these are numbers based off of like the 3 weeks. And so now I'm kind of like, now I'm set up to be able to be successful again. Um, anyways, but so for like, just to get click, so in that time I spent 1,700 on ads. Okay. And so my cost per click on my lead in on the on the post in Facebook was 74 cents a click. And then my cost for each lead that they opted into the VSL was $2.59. And then for the completed appointment strategic assessment for people that booked, that was $35 per one. So
I can tell you that you're killing it with those $35 appointments because
yes.
we have we have people like the average is like 70, 80. But I mean, even with that, they're still like making really, really good profit and they're so much more efficient with their time. And then for annuities, it's like 120. So if
Yeah.
you're getting them for 35, yeah, you're killing it.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with.
How many total appointments was it in that 3 weeks?
So 49 in those 3 weeks.
Nice. And then what about show up rate?
So I will say the show up rate is not too great, just because we had that conference and I thought, oh, I can let him book later. And so I had let him book up to 2 weeks. And so my show rate was only 30%. So once I stopped that though, and just went back to the, 4 days, then it doubled, immediately. So that was, so
Yeah,
I
that's
deviated. So, and I know not to deviate from that anymore.
good. Yeah, we're typically seeing around like 65, 75% show up rate. And
Mhm.
yeah, if you're letting them book like 2 weeks out, they're not going to show up. So,
No,
um,
and I didn't. So, I try it. Well, so I won't make that mistake again. But just from those, I wrote 28,000 in premium. So, I mean, it's
in 3 weeks, yeah,
mhm.
that's amazing. And
Yeah.
I think if I remember correctly, like when you came in, you were out like the $5,000 per month range, something like that. 5,000.
Yeah. Just with kind of coming back from COVID and all that. I had been much higher than that, but that's kind of where I'd been just recently. And so I knew I needed to, really double, quadruple that was what I wanted to do. And so I'm on track for that. So I'm not.
So yeah, let's go into last thing, like where
Mhm.
you're headed, but also now that you have this system in place,
Mhm.
started to recruit more or bring on other agents to help close these
Mhm.
appointments to really, kind of fully systemize your business and potentially even like have some passive income out of it. Has it been easier to recruit because you have this system in place?
I'm how do you say yes? Just super duper emphatically. Like, just saying like, hey, what's, just being like, what is your system right now for getting appointments and for getting leads? And what does everybody say? Well, I call and I prospect and hopefully they show up. And okay, where do you get your leads? Some people have a lead system, and the lead system I had was actually really good. Like our returns and all that were really good. But I was still calling a lot. So just to be able to say, hey, I've got an option where if you come with me, we offer pre-booked, um, pre-screened appointments. So you'll be sitting appointments all day, every day.
Mhm.
People are like, what?
Right. Well, I don't have to call. I don't have to do entire dial days. I don't have to drive anywhere. Yeah, they probably think that you're offering them some like fantasy thing that doesn't even exist.
No. And then what I do, because I also know a lot of people that are coming on, especially if they're new agents or, I remember what it was like. And personally, I'm trying to get teachers just because I
Yeah,
love working with teachers.
that's
Having that kind of budget for investing in leads up front can be difficult and can be a deterrent for many people that otherwise would do very well. And so I'll say, you can get on the calendar. We do like a round robin, and then we just split the commission until you've got enough to kind of invest on your own for that. And so that's also been appealing to some people that, maybe the financial investment upfront is kind of overwhelming. So
yeah.
anyways.
Honestly, like I know that everybody in the insurance industry doesn't share these feelings that I do, but I truly think that that's like the most profitable way to run an insurance industry. And for me, like I know that everybody doesn't want to be an entrepreneur. So there are some
Mhm.
people that like may eventually want to take on the lead costs and like have those risks. But at the same
Yeah.
time, there's probably some teachers that just want to like make some money in the summer,
Yeah.
don't want to be a teacher anymore, but they want to like stay home, have more time with their family, and they just
Yeah.
open up 4 hours a day, take some calls, make some money, and have a good life. Leave it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. And so I'm even thinking too, like, I'm actually doing it right now. Is I'm making another funnel that's just more like not the advanced market. So just for people coming on that maybe aren't quite ready to take on debt free life, but that would still want to have those kind of pre-booked and preset appointments. And so just kind of your regular term, accidental, permanent, whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
And so that way when people come on in, then they can decide, okay, do I want to put my name in the hat for debt-free life, do it for regular life insurance, do it for both of them, just kind of leave it up to new agents coming in, just to give them some options. And so it's a little bit more, so now my week just got a little bit busier. But again, it's worth it in the long run. And then that's just more scalability for what I can do. So
Yeah.
it's worth it.
That's so cool to hear. I was very excited to do this interview. You're just doing really cool things, and I'm excited to see where this takes you.
Well, thank you so much, Justin. Thanks for putting it together. It definitely, yeah, it changed my business, changed my life. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, let's see. Is there any specific place that people could find you if they have questions? Facebook
Oh,
or
definitely. Yeah. So my website is thebaragency.com. And so we're, on there. There's places to book, if you're interested in debt-free life, there's a place to book directly from there. If you're interested in, becoming an agent, debt-free life is something you can just add on to your current book of business or become a full-time agent. There's lots of options. since people are just kind of putting their calendars in, you just block off the time that you want to use for it. And it keeps it pretty simple. But yeah, so at thebaragency.com, everything's on there. And yeah, we're on Facebook too. So always looking for people, the right people. That's definitely kind of our focus here, just since our product is definitely about building relationships and helping families kind of in their point of need. So we're definitely looking for people with the right heart for this kind of thing. But yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Well, thanks so much for being on, and for everybody else watching, we're going to try and do a lot more of these, get a lot more interviews going on, so we can see, how people have had success and what individual things they've done to, make them stand out from other people, and
Mm.
it brings you guys a lot of value. So, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one.